show. Hello, everybody. I'm Lauren. I'm a registered dietitian, holistic nutritionist, and I'm also the head of nutrition at Sound. Today, I'm so excited to welcome my friend and someone that I admire very much, Jennifer Maeng, who will be leading us through a no added sugar cooking demo or a cooking class. So even though it's not going to be actually cooking food with heat, it's going to be putting something together that's really, really delicious. If you don't know Jennifer, Jennifer holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Nutrition and Dietetics and a Master's of Science degree in Clinical Nutrition from NYU. Additionally, as a former chef and a restaurateur, Jennifer uses her broad clinical and culinary knowledge to help guide her clients in making lasting lifestyle changes. So welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me today. I'm super excited. Hi, everyone who's joining us today. Thanks for joining us. My name is Jennifer Maeng. I'm a registered dietitian. Thank you, Lauren, for amazing introduction. I'm also a cookbook author and founder of health and wellness private practice called Chelsea Nutrition. I am super excited to be partnering with Sound Tea today to help you cut down on added sugar intake. I work with numerous clients whose goal is to reduce sugar cravings and intakes, and I know how hard it can be for some people, especially if your vice is sweet treats. Sugar in general gets a really bad rap, but the truth is that it is a viral source of energy. What's important to differentiate here is unprocessed sugar from fruits, grains, beans, dairy, refined sugar such as granulated sugar, cane sugar, syrup, and sugar alternatives, which I'm sure you are familiar with by now. When you eat sugar, it raises your blood sugar, and in response, the pancreas produces insulin to help sugar get where it needs to go. Some are used as a form of energy, some are stored to be utilized as a form of energy later, which could be in the form of fat. But if you eat a large amount of sugar regularly, your cell can actually become resistant to insulin over time. And this is called insulin resistance. I personally love educating my clients on insulin resistance because you don't get a medical diagnosis for it from a traditional Western medicine doctor, but it can lead to weight gain, diabetes, cardiovascular disease. It can even impact your immune response. So many people say that they're addicted to sugar and that's why they want it. But what's also interesting to add here is that many sugar cravings stem from a blood sugar imbalance. In an attempt to lower your blood sugar to a safe level, sometimes insulin can bring your blood sugar level a little too low, and your body will naturally crave foods that will raise it, which is simple carb or sugar. So to help my clients understand this concept, I often ask them to observe the difference in cravings when they start their morning with simple carbohydrates versus high protein, high fiber, or high fat foods. And I would like to recommend you to try too, to see the difference in cravings and energy levels. Hope that wasn't too much nutrition science. I promise you we'll get to cooking.
No, that was so valuable to think about. Thank you. That was super valuable.
Thank you, Lauren. So today we are going to make a no-bake raspberry fruit tart together. It doesn't have to be raspberries. It could be any fruits you like. Unlike traditional fruit tarts, this recipe is packed with fiber, protein, and fat, which I mentioned before, without sacrificing on taste, I hope. So let's go over the ingredients. I have 1 1/3 cup of unsalted almonds. If you only have salted almonds, that's okay too. Just skip the added salt. I'm using Maldon sea salt because I like the texture, but kosher salt is fine too. I have pitted Medjool Dates here. So people will look at Medjool Date and say, oh, that's really sweet. That's a lot of sugar. But the difference is the glycemic index. It is metabolized a bit slower, unlike regular granulated sugar. It is also packed with fiber, a lot of micronutrients, and also it's really tasty. So I do use Medjool Dates to replace sugar when I bake for my family, especially for my kids. I have 2 children who are starting to get really into sweets. So I have pitted dates, but if yours is not, you can just press it with your fingers and split it in half. And you want to get the pit out. You want to make sure you do this right because you don't want to sort of end up with very, very hard pits all over your tart. And next I have avocado oil spray. You can use coconut oil spray. If you only have olive oil, it is fine. I'm using just a little bit of it to prevent the crust from sticking to the pan. And I also have many different types of berries. I have raspberries, I have blueberries, and I also have blackberries. The reason why I chose berries is because berries are highest in fiber when it comes to fruits. I think the easiest way to understand is, let's say a medium to large size banana has about 30 grams of carb. That's about 2 slices of bread, and maybe 1 to 2 grams of fiber, depending. And berries, such as raspberries, full cup has about 15 grams of carb, but 8 grams of fiber. That's a huge difference. So you will get a lot of fiber, even though it looks like they look like same sugar. Raspberries, berries usually are better choice if you're trying to really watch that sugar. And last, I am using shredded coconut. It is totally optional. If you don't like coconut, you can skip it. So let's go over the tools. What you need is the food processor. I'm using mini food processor. If you have big one, that's fine. If you are using a blender, just be careful because it may not grind the almonds evenly. So you may want to stop, stir, stop and stir. Do that a few times to make sure it is even texture. All right. You can use the baking pan or dinner plate. You really don't need to get fancy. I just happen to have a cake stand, so I'll be using this, but you can use anything really, anything flat to help you get the tart flat. And you can use small kitchen knife if you are using strawberries to cut, but otherwise that's it. So let's get started, yeah? Okay, so because my mini food processor does make a lot of noise, what I like to do is put a little towel, thick towel under to minimize the noise. And then I'm going to add all of my almonds. This is probably one of my favorite kitchen tools in my house. I use it to make desserts, sauces, anything, and it's so inexpensive. It's worth your investment. So I'm just gonna chop first. Sorry, it's gonna make a lot of noise, but the texture you're looking for is more like a cornmeal. If you like crunchier texture, if you're crunchy peanut butter type of person, then you can go a little bit more coarse, but you can go fine, coarse, totally up to you.
Jen, can you use other types of nuts here, or do you prefer almonds? Is there any specific health benefit to them?
So not necessarily. You can use pecans. I think pecans work really well. You can use hazelnuts. Dates will work as your binder. We're adding nuts to up your fiber, up your protein, up your plant-based fat, and it does add really nice nutty texture to balance the sweetness. But if you like peanuts, you can use peanuts. If you like walnuts, you can use that. Walnuts are softer, so it may be definitely a little bit different. It's different in texture, but you can use pecans, hazelnuts, anything you like.
Okay.
One ingredient that I haven't tried, which I think could work nicely, is seeds, like pumpkin seeds,
That's a good
sunflower
point.
seeds.
I love
Okay, so I think I'm just about done here. I will show you the texture of mine. So still, you know, I would say you can see the thick texture, but not too much. I think this is pretty good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna empty out all the nuts just yet. I'm gonna leave half. I'm gonna leave about half in there. This is because when I try to blend dates, it will prevent my dates from turning into a big ball of dough. So I'm going to leave about half back in there. And I'm going to add 10 dates. I like my Medjool Dates at room temperature. I think it blends better. You also want to make sure they're soft. I think there are other types of dates that are a little bit harder. So you want to go for that soft Medjool Dates. Okay, so back at it. You just want to hold it down so it doesn't pop out. So in between, you just want to check to make sure they are blending well. How is yours going, Lauren?
I'm trying to get the dates now. I got the nuts are good. They're perfect. Do you recommend chopping up the dates at all before?
You can. It will be much easier. Mine was pretty soft, so I didn't, but you can chop it up to make this process a bit easier. You can also buy them chopped. Sorry, a lot of blending going on here. So what you will start to notice is they start to coagulate, start to form little. Okay, if you feel like they're well blended, I'll show you. The dates also look like almonds. They're cut into tiny little pieces. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna combine the date mixture with rest of my almonds. And I'm going to use my hands to roll. Okay. All right, hopefully you guys can see better. You may not be able to see my face, but you'll be able to see what I'm working on. Okay, so I'm just going to massage together and create a little ball of dough. If you have bigger food processor, you can totally skip this step because you don't need to empty out all the almonds. Okay. All right.
So
hopefully
in terms of the, just a question, the benefits of using the whole food ingredients like the dates or the berries for sweetness, as opposed to something like agave or honey, what would the benefits to that be?
I would say you're getting a lot more nutrients, and fiber helps slow the absorption of sugar in your body. So what people often say to me is, oh, but it's honey. Isn't honey really good for you? Yes, right. Honey is really good for you, but your body doesn't differentiate. You know, when you ingest honey, your body won't say, oh, she's giving me honey. It's registered as sugar, right? More simple form of sugar. Whereas if you're having something like this that contains sugar, yes, fiber, protein, and carb, it is absorbed differently.
Got it.
And it would have less inflammatory impact on your body, even if you eat it often.
Got it.
Okay. Do you cook with dates a lot, Lauren? I know you have 2 kids too.
I do. You know what? I got to do more of the cooking. I definitely do a date with, some sort of cashews or Brazil nut or something smashed into it, or peanut butter. But I need to do some more of this sort of thing. I love this idea.
Okay. So before I turn this into a fruit tart base, I wanted to show you something. So let's say, oh, I don't know, I'm not really into fruit tarts. And if you're hesitant about making this, what you can do is add chia seeds, hemp seeds to this. Sorry, I'm gonna see it on my face. Add different types of seeds here and form into little balls. And you can make this into energy bites. It would make a really perfect snack on the go, like this, but it would have a lot more seeds, just to add a little bit more protein. All right, so mine's ready. What I'll do is I'm going to go wash my hands. All right. All right. It's getting very sunny here. All right, so I'm going to take my cake stand. You can take your baking pan or dinner plate, and you want to spray a little bit of oil. You don't need a lot, maybe half a teaspoon, just to prevent dates from sticking, especially when you are ready to serve. Okay, and to this, I'm going to add my dough. I shouldn't call it dough, my date mixture. And I'm just going to press to spread it. And you can turn it into square or circular shape, doesn't really matter, but you want to get it fairly thin. This should serve about 8 to 10 people. And you don't want your tart shell to be too thick, because then it will overpower the flavor and all you will taste will be dates. So, and you don't want that. Today I'm showing you guys a simpler version. This recipe is actually in my second book called The Alkaline Diet. But sometimes if I have more time, I like to add a little bit of cashew cream. It's just cashew and water, a little bit of sea salt blended thick, and create almost like a whipped cashew cream. And I will put that in between my tart shell and berries.
Sounds delicious.
Right.
Jen, I know you mentioned that
delicious.
You have, some clients that are fighting those sugar cravings. What kind of tips do you have for just being mindful around eating sweets?
So I think social media can be very confusing, especially these days when it comes to wellness, eat dieting and all that. So you have to first understand your relationship with that sugar too. Yes, I did mention it could be from overeating sugar, your body overproducing insulin too, but it could also be that you have very specific relationship with that food. So I try to understand their relationship with food first. So does your sugar craving have more to do with your relationship with that food? Are you making that your very guilty food? Are you telling yourself that you shouldn't be eating that you naturally gravitate more towards that food? So I think that's number one step. And but if you feel that you are, you have coworkers who just love to eat sweets, you're always around it, so you just eat it. I think depending on what's causing your sugar intake, you can approach it differently.
Got it.
Okay, so I'm about ready to place my fruits on top, and this is what it looks like.
Oh, beautiful.
Kind of stuck on there. I also like to make tiny little wall around it. I think it's just prettier when you serve it. And to this, you can just start adding fruits. You can be messy. You can be, you can line them up perfectly. I think the picture that I showed Lauren, it had half and half. You can do that too. If you don't like berries, for example, you can choose different types of fruits too. It doesn't have to be berries. You can try maybe pear, thinly sliced pear, If you're into tropical fruits, I know it's winter in New York. You can also try star fruits, thinly sliced star fruits. So you can really play around with this recipe. I think I'm going to line them up pretty, only on the ice outside. I want to see yours
is so much
Lauren,
prettier
when
than
you're
mine.
done. Yeah,
Yours
I
is
wanna
way
see.
prettier.
You just have to massage it well to form that thicker texture. But
Yeah, I'm trying to
sure
make
yours
it,
is
put it
pretty.
in a pretty circle. I mean, we're definitely eating this tonight.
Yeah.
It's our favorite thing.
All right. So I've got my raspberries around, and I think I'm going to put blueberries in the center. As I was making this, I was like, oh, maybe this can be a good like July 4th kind of dessert. Here.
Oh yeah, it totally is.
Look. All right. Okay, so I have unsweetened coconuts. You can also put extra nuts on top, but you do want to go for higher fat or protein ingredients because our base is already fairly high in carbs. So little sprinkles of coconut flakes. I know once my kids get home, they will dive right into this.
I'm gonna have to hide this come dinner and take it out afterwards. Otherwise, dinner won't be as exciting.
Yeah, I hear you. So I have a little bit of almonds left from my base. I'm also going to sprinkle on top so I don't waste anything. All right, so you can refrigerate this up to 2 days. You can also freeze it without the berries as well. If you make the base, but you're not ready to put the berries, just freeze it, thaw, and then turn into round discs. You can also make this into smaller tarts.
I love the energy ball idea too. That energy ball idea is so smart.
My son loves making energy balls.
Yeah.
I like to add a little bit of, yeah.
Does he have a favorite? I'm thinking this is such a good recipe. Do you guys have another go-to?
Yes, he loves chocolate. So we just buy unsweetened organic cocoa powder and add that in. So the whole thing tastes more like chocolate, but it's not.
Yum. I love that.
I remember when my husband was running training for a marathon. I also made him a lot of those.
Right. That's such a good idea because it's not just pure sugar, it gives you that like energy that you need from that piece, but more of a long-standing energy.
Yeah, and something I noticed often is when people are trying to cut sugar, they can crave more sugar. Right. But if you can make something like energy ball, because of their relationship with food, I want to make that very specific. If you tell yourself, okay, I can't have sugar, I can never have sugar, no fruits, nothing, then you may gravitate more towards those kind of foods, more desserts. And you can make something like date with covered in chocolate, so you feel like you're eating dessert, but it's way more nutritious. It won't give you that sugar crash. If anything, it should give you more energy throughout the day.
I love it. Well, mine is not as pretty as yours, but here.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
I did blackberries and blueberries. I couldn't find raspberries really at the store. Thank you so much. Not as beautiful as yours. I was thinking maybe I'd throw a little hemp hearts or something on top.
Oh yes. I think that's a great idea.
So hopefully, I know we only have
everyone had fun making this.
Oh, I'm sure that they did. I definitely did. I need to use my food processor more. So in terms of questions, if anybody has any questions, just throw them in the Q&A on the bottom right. We'll leave a few minutes for questions. I know that, or if you can't find that, the chat is fine. Does it need to be refrigerated at all before serving? You said that 2 days, right? Was that?
It can be refrigerated up to 2 days. So if you have small family, if it's just you, or if it's just you and your partner, you can eat small slice each day, and it should last you up to 2-3 days.
Okay.
Because of berries, it can get a little moist. So if you are planning on eating this, in the next few days, what I would do is make half fruit tart and half energy ball, the way I showed you.
That's smart. Okay. And if you're going to serve it the next day, you can do the berries like right before you're serving it. Okay. And then what about, you mentioned freezing. Can you repeat again how long you can freeze it for?
So you can freeze the date part, just the tart, for probably up to a month. You just have to thaw and place the berries on top.
Okay, perfect.
If you want, I know I mentioned cashew cream, but you can also use coconut cream out of a can and just put very thin layer and then put berries. So you'll have nice, almost like a cream in the middle.
Yum. Oh, I'm definitely doing that next time. A nice, like not the watered down coconut, like the real deal.
The
coconut.
real cream.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it for questions. This is perfect, Jennifer. Thank you so much. And again, everyone, this will be available on recording on our YouTube. So the link will go out later this week, and we look forward to hearing and seeing your pictures of what you created.
Thank you for having me. Hope you guys had fun. If you have any question about nutrition, you can reach out to me, reach out to Lauren to connect us.
Yes. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Have a great night.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.